You're listening to Lead AI.dev, your daily updates on AI development. Today's topic is Cursor launches real-time RL for Composer, AI code generation revolution. Here's a quick overview. Cursor introduces real-time reinforcement learning for its Composer feature, enabling AI code generation that adapts and improves based on developer feedback and usage patterns. Now, let's ask our analyst about these developments. What's new? Cursor's real-time reinforcement learning for Composer?
Cursor has unveiled a groundbreaking update to its Composer feature that integrates real time reinforcement learning RL capabilities directly into the AI code generation workflow. This advancement represents a significant shift from traditional static AI models to dynamic systems that continuously learn and adapt based on developer interactions, code acceptance rates, and real world usage patterns. The real time RL implementation allows Composer to refine its code suggestions within active development sessions, creating a feedback loop that improves suggestions quality as developers work. The technical implementation leverages a hybrid approach combining transformer based language models with policy gradient methods optimized for code generation tasks. Cursor's engineering team has developed a custom reward system that evaluates code suggestions based on multiple criteria, including compilation success, test passage rates, code style consistency, and developer acceptance patterns. The system processes feedback in milliseconds, updating the underlying model weights to influence subsequent suggestions within the same coding session. This creates an unprecedented level of personalization where the AI adapts to individual developer preferences and project specific patterns. Unlike previous versions of Composer that relied on pre trained models with periodic updates, this real time RL system maintains separate policy networks for different programming languages and frameworks. The system tracks contextual factors such as project architecture, existing code base patterns, and individual developer coding styles to create highly targeted suggestions. Early internal testing showed a 34% improvement in code suggestion acceptance rates and a 28% reduction in the time developers spend refining AI generated code. Real time model adaptation occurs within 200 to 300 milliseconds of developer feedback. Separate policy networks maintained for Python, JavaScript, TypeScript, Go, and Rust reward system evaluates suggestions based on 12 distinct quality metrics. Session-specific learning persists across file switches within the same project integration with existing Cursor features, including multi-file editing and code-based search.
Thank you for that analysis. Let's move on. Who benefits from real-time RL Composer updates?
Senior developers and tech leads working on complex, multi-file projects will see the most immediate benefits from Cursor's real-time RL implementation. Teams building large-scale applications with established coding standards and architectural patterns will find the adaptive learning particularly valuable, as the system quickly learns project-specific conventions and suggests code that maintains consistency across the code base. Individual contributors working on greenfield projects or prototyping will benefit from the system's ability to adapt to their personal coding style and preferred patterns within the first few hours of use. Development teams using microservices architectures, API-heavy applications, or domain-specific frameworks will find significant value in the system's ability to learn context-specific patterns. The real-time adaptation proves especially beneficial for teams working with custom internal libraries or proprietary frameworks where traditional AI models lack training data. Freelance developers and consultants who frequently switch between different client code bases will appreciate how quickly the system adapts to new project contexts and coding standards. However, developers working primarily with well-established, simple applications, or those who prefer minimal AI assistance should consider whether the added complexity justifies the benefits. Teams with strict code review processes that require extensive manual verification of AI suggestions may not see proportional value from the real-time learning features. Additionally, developers working on highly regulated code bases where AI suggestions must be thoroughly audited may find the dynamic nature of real-time RL less suitable than static, auditable models. Enterprise teams with 10 plus developers see average 40% reduction in code review cycles. Full stack developers report 25% faster feature implementation times. Open source contributors benefit from rapid adaptation to project contribution guidelines. Bootcamp graduates and junior developers gain personalized mentoring through adaptive suggestions.
Great insight. Really helpful context. How to get started. Step-by-step real-time RL setup.
Before enabling real-time RL for Composer, ensure your Cursor installation is updated to version 0.42 or later, and verify that your system meets the minimum requirements of 8 GB RAM and a stable internet connection with at least 10 megabits per second upload speed. The feature requires continuous communication with Cursor servers to process feedback and update model weights, so consistent connectivity is essential for optimal performance. Create a backup of your current Cursor settings and workspace configurations, as the initial setup process will modify existing Composer preferences. Navigate to Cursor Settings, AI Features, Composer, and locate the Real-Time Learning section. Toggle the Enable Real-Time RL option and select your preferred learning aggressiveness level from Conservative, Balanced, or Aggressive modes. Conservative mode updates the model less frequently but provides more stable suggestions, while Aggressive mode adapts quickly but may occasionally produce inconsistent suggestions during the learning phase. Configure the feedback collection settings to specify which types of interactions should influence the learning process, including code acceptance, rejection, manual edits, and compilation results. Complete the initial calibration process by working on a representative sample of your typical coding tasks for 30 to 45 minutes while the system observes your patterns. During this period, provide explicit feedback on suggestions using the thumbs up/down indicators and make manual edits to demonstrate your preferred coding style. The system will display a calibration progress indicator showing adaptation confidence levels for different code patterns and contexts. Download and install Cursor version 0.42 Plus with real-time RL support configure learning mode. Conservative updates every 50 interactions, balanced every 25, or aggressive every 10 complete 30 to 45 minute calibration session with representative coding tasks, enable specific feedback channels. Acceptance rates. Edit patterns, compilation results, test outcomes, set up project specific learning profiles for different code bases, and frameworks configure privacy settings for data sharing and model personalization preferences.
That's a very interesting point. Tell us about competitive context. How real-time RL changes the AI coding landscape.
Cursor's real-time RL implementation positions it significantly ahead of competitors like GitHub Copilot, Amazon CodeWhisper, and Tabnine, which primarily rely on static pre-trained models with periodic updates. While GitHub Copilot excels in general code completion based on its extensive training data, it cannot adapt to individual developer preferences or project-specific patterns within active sessions. CodeWhisperer offers some customization through organizational policies, but lacks the dynamic learning capabilities that Cursor now provides. This creates a substantial competitive advantage for developers who value personalized AI assistance that improves throughout their workflow. The real-time adaptation capability addresses a fundamental limitation of existing AI coding assistants: the inability to learn from immediate context and feedback. Traditional tools like Codeum and SourceGraph Codey provide excellent general-purpose code suggestions, but cannot refine their approach based on a developer's specific coding style or project requirements. Cursor's approach creates a more collaborative relationship between developer and AI, where the tool becomes increasingly valuable over time rather than providing static assistance. This positions Cursor as the premium option for developers willing to invest in a learning relationship with their AI assistant. However, the real-time RL approach introduces complexity and potential consistency challenges that competitors avoid through their static model approaches. GitHub Copilot's predictable behavior and extensive training data make it more suitable for teams requiring consistent, auditable AI assistance. The computational overhead and internet dependency of Cursor's real-time learning may also limit its adoption in environments with strict security requirements or limited connectivity areas where offline-capable tools like Tabnine maintain advantages. First AI coding assistant to implement session-specific learning and adaptation 34% higher suggestion acceptance rates compared to GitHub Copilot in internal testing unique advantage in custom framework and proprietary code-based scenarios. Higher computational requirements may limit adoption in resource-constrained environments.
Good analysis. Let's continue. What's next? Future implications of real-time RL in code generation?
Cursor's roadmap includes expanding real-time RL capabilities to support team-level learning, where the system can aggregate insights from multiple developers working on the same project while maintaining individual personalization. The company plans to introduce collaborative learning modes that allow teams to share successful patterns and coding conventions through the RL system, creating organization-specific AI assistants that understand company coding standards and architectural preferences. Advanced features in development include cross-project learning transfer, where insights gained from one codebase can inform suggestions in related projects, and integration with code review systems to incorporate peer feedback into the learning process. The broader ecosystem implications suggest a shift toward more personalized and adaptive developer tools across the industry. Integration possibilities include connecting real-time RL with continuous integration systems to learn from build success rates, test coverage improvements, and deployment outcomes. Cursor is also exploring partnerships with popular development frameworks and cloud platforms to create deeper contextual understanding and more accurate suggestions for specific technology stacks. This advancement signals the beginning of truly intelligent development environments that adapt to individual and team preferences over time. The success of Cursor's real time RL approach will likely accelerate similar innovations from competitors and establish adaptive learning as a standard expectation for AI coding assistants. Long term implications include the potential for AI assistants to become highly specialized for specific domains, programming languages, and even individual developer workflows, fundamentally changing how developers interact with AI powered tools. Team level learning features planned for Q2 2024 release cross project knowledge transfer capabilities in development integration roadmap includes CI/CD systems and code review platforms, partnership discussions with major cloud providers for enhanced context awareness.
Great analysis. So, what are the key takeaways from all of this?
Enable real-time RL in Cursor version 0.42, plus to get AI suggestions that adapt to your coding style within active sessions. Complete the 30 to 45-minute calibration process to establish baseline patterns for optimal learning performance. Configure learning aggressiveness based on your workflow. Conservative for stable suggestions, aggressive for rapid adaptation. Real-time RL provides the biggest benefits for complex projects with established patterns and custom frameworks.
And what market signals should our listeners watch for?
Adaptive AI becomes competitive necessity. Cursor's real-time RL implementation establishes adaptive learning as the new standard for AI coding assistants. Static models that cannot learn from user feedback and context will become increasingly obsolete as developers experience the benefits of personalized AI assistants. This forces competitors to accelerate their own adaptive learning research or risk losing market share to more intelligent tools. Personalization drives premium tool adoption. The success of real-time RL validates the market demand for AI tools that improve through use rather than providing generic assistance. Developers are willing to invest in tools that create long-term value through personalization, suggesting a shift towards subscription models that emphasize continuous improvement and learning capabilities over one-time feature sets. Enterprise AI tool requirements evolving. Enterprise development teams are increasingly seeking AI assistants that can adapt to organizational coding standards and project-specific requirements. Cursor's team-level learning roadmap addresses this demand, indicating that future enterprise AI tool procurement will prioritize adaptability and organizational learning over general-purpose capabilities.
What should developers and operators do with this information?
Upgrade to Cursor 0.42 plus immediately if working on projects with custom frameworks or established coding patterns. Implement team-wide adoption with coordinated feedback training during the first 2 weeks for consistent organizational learning. Configure conservative learning mode for production code bases and aggressive mode for experimental or prototype projects. Monitor suggestion acceptance rates weekly and adjust learning settings based on productivity metrics and code quality outcomes.
Thank you for listening to leadai.dev. Stay tuned for our next daily updates in this rapidly emerging market.